Oh,
Can you?
there you are. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. So you were going to share a story. We've been taught every week. We've said maybe you could share the snake story, and then we get put on a different agenda,
Oh,
or
oh,
whatever you would like.
no, that's so you want me to tell a story? You know, I have so many stories.
I
Like
know.
the snake story.
Fantastic.
Uh, okay, so one day I'm expecting a mother calls me up. She says, my son has been chasing me with a knife, and I think I better make an appointment. I'd never met them before. They made the appointment. I went out to my waiting room, and there stood the mother and the boy, a 14-year-old boy, holding a snake, a big fat snake. He's got it all around him. And I'm a little startled. And I say, hello. The mother introduces me, and he takes the snake off and he hands it to me. And I said, I don't know how to hold a snake. So he proceeds to tell me how to hold the snake. He said, it's not poisonous. Anyway, so I take the snake, he puts it across my arm, and we go into my office. And I'm thinking, he's very contactful. I mean, explaining how to hold the snake. But what I discover after seeing him for a while, or even before that, uh,
Buongiorno, si
the,
scopre.
excuse me, it's the only time he is contactful is when he talks about snakes. Otherwise, he's out in another world. So anyway, we go into my office, and he's got a big problem, his mother told me, with his stepfather. His father had died, and she had remarried, and his stepfather really couldn't understand this weird, strange boy who had many snakes. So he comes, so we had our first session with the mother, and then he comes back with a bag full of snakes, a paper sack full of many snakes. And it's a little startling. He begins to tell me about the different snakes and all that. And I'm very interested because I don't know anything about snakes. So then I said, well, let's have a game. Let's have a race. I'll be one of your snakes and you be one. So he chooses one for me, and we lie on the floor and we watch the snakes move, and we cheer them on, and one of them wins, and then we have another race with some of the other snakes, and we do that whole session. The next time he brings in the same snakes, and he's really happy, loves to do this. And finally, I say to him, imagine you can talk for that snake. You know, you be his voice, and this will be my snake. So my snake says to his snake, hi, how are you? And he answers, fine. And I start asking him questions. Where do you live? Do you have a family? Do you like what you're doing, being a snake? And we have a whole conversation about, he gives the snake a voice. And of course, we're doing all this projective work. So finally, I say something like, your snake lives with his mother and his sister, and your snake likes that very much. And he says, yes. And Snake doesn't like his stepfather. So he's already in the snake, being the snake, is taking that for himself. And he begins then to talk about his stepfather and why they don't get along. So that's just, we continued working together. Gradually, he became able to be out of the snake and just be himself. And he never chased his mother with a knife again. He just had a lot of feelings that he didn't know how to present. And that's the story. That's my story of being with the child where he is. So that's what I did, is to be with him and his snakes. Karen, are you there?
I'm here. I'm here. Yes.
But
And yeah, go ahead.
no, I did want to talk a little bit about aggressive energy.
Okay, then that is what we would love to hear about.
Yeah,
So, we know it's an important topic.
yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I think it's the wrong word, aggressive. Aggressive energy, people right away think it means aggression. And some people have connected it to anger. But aggressive energy, you do need some of that to express anger, but it's for others, it's much larger than that. It, aggressive energy, as I've said, is that energy you use to bite an apple. I mean, if you had an apple and you just licked it, you wouldn't really get the meat of the apple. You have to bite it. So that's aggressive energy, biting the apple. Or any time you use some inner power in an action, you're using aggressive energy. And because you do need some aggressive energy to express something that's difficult, like for children, how hard they have to express anger. I mean, they may act out in anger, but to say, I don't like this, or this makes me mad, is not easy for them. So they act maybe angry, but they're not necessarily, they're just unable to make that statement. So the more we work on the self and help to strengthen the self, the more they're able to use that energy to do or to express what they need to. And anytime you, for instance, cutting something, bread or something, you use aggressive energy. It's that action. And we do a certain amount of practice because kids are not really understanding how to use that energy. So we practice it with different games and things we do. We, um, my friend Felicia Carroll, who some of you have trained with her, and I used to go to toy stores like Toys R Us and look at all the games they have to find an aggressive energy game. And we found a couple at that time, one called Splat and one called Hawaiian Punch, where you have to hit the clay, and they don't even make those anymore. And in fact, in my training, we figured out a way to make the game long time ago now. Um, but we would have kids play certain aggressive energy games, but there were rules. The rule was that it was therapeutically valuable in contact with the therapist. Some children may do these on their own. Like a mother told me, my son goes around hitting trees with a stick. Isn't that aggressive energy? It is, but it's not. Um, if she would hit them with him, it would have more meaning. It would be in contact. And the other rule is it has to be in a safe place. The exercise we give children, we don't say go out and do something aggressive. Use your aggressive energy. We want to do it with them so they understand what we mean. So it has to be in a safe place like your office, where there are rules, and limits. And it has to be exaggerated. So when we're playing with I've had kids make, say, armies with soldiers. And I said to one kid, he would line everything up. And I said to him, make it happen. He said, what? I said, make the war happen. And so he started with the different figures. He wasn't clear about he could do that. But when he realized that I'm nodding and smiling, he's going, and all the soldiers were flat down on the ground except one. And I said, well, what happened? And he said, they're all dead except this one. Who is he? He's the captain of the losing of all the teams. So I said, be him. I want to talk to him. Hi, Captain. He said, hi. And I said, what happened? He said, all my armies are dead. And I said, wow, except you. I said, how does that feel? He stopped. He looked around. He said, he feels lonely. He's 9 years old. He feels lonely. And I said, oh, um, I wonder if you ever feel that way. All the time. He said, I feel lonely all the time. And he starts talking about how his father is in the Navy and they move every year to a different school. He's always a new kid. He's always, nobody plays with him because he doesn't know them. And he said quite a few things that way, which turned out to be the root of why he was difficult for his mother, especially, to deal with. And when he started expressing all of his lonely, bad feelings, things began to change for him. Anyway, so it has to be exaggerated, like playing the war, and it has to be in fun. It has to be part of sort of playful fun that we talked about before. Um, so this aggressive energy, it's good practice. We have bataka fights, foam bats, where we, so, and it gives kid a feeling of their own power. They can feel it physically, and we talk about that, and so it's very useful to practice some of those aggressive energy. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say. I guess um, we use progressive aggressive energy to give the child a feeling of power. And that's it.